Hello, people. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk, and we're back after a month's break. How are you, Tom?
I'm very well and healthy, Nathan, and I hope you are as well.
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good to see you.
Yes, you too.
Right. I'm just going to share the screen so we can get our thing on. Right. So we've got a card on Saturday, which is in Wembley, and the card is. I'll just talk about a couple of the fights. We've got David Avanatti against Josh Kelly. This is for the European welterweight title. This is a very interesting fight. What do you think?
I agree too. You know, here's the deal with Josh Kelly. Is he being brought along too fast? I watched his last fight. Avanatti is a good opponent. He's strong. He's been around with some good guys. And Josh has a tendency sometimes to clown around, you know. But he's good. But maybe he's jumping in a little bit into the deep water here with Avanatti. And so I expect this to be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I just think this is probably a teeny little bit too soon. They should have given it another 6 months. You know, Josh is a good fighter. If he's got the talent, I think he should really win this one. If he wants to make a statement, I mean, he's 26 years of age. But because his Olympic pedigree and the fact that he got a silver medal, people are expecting him to win this, you know.
Right.
But the bookies have made Avanatti in favour. I know Avanatti is a former world champion, but his last performance against Kerman Lajara, I think, made Avanatti look better than what he actually is.
Uh-huh.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I watched what he was doing, and when he fought that last guy, who was a Brazilian guy who had a lot of experience, he was getting to him, and he kind of like was losing some of those early rounds and middle rounds. And I don't think I think this weight is, you know, he's growing. I think he's outgrowing this weight too. So it depends on how he shows up, if he's really in shape or not, and if he stops fooling around and takes this seriously. I think he's, you know, drinking his own Kool-Aid, and I think his management is just pushing him along a little too fast.
I would have to partly agree with that a little bit. But because they've looked at Avanatti and they're thinking he's not really a big hitter, is he, Avanatti? You know, his knockout ratio is not that great.
Yeah.
And he's 32. He's been a world champion. I don't think he's got a great deal left, personally. I think they've caught Avanatti at just the right time.
Yeah, I think so too. And is just as a change here, Spencer is messaging us right now. Is he coming in?
Yeah, he'll be in shortly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see him when he comes.
Maybe we should put the link in the messenger for him, because he's
No, it's in the Facebook. I've sent it to him via an email.
Oh, okay. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, so I'm a little bit. It will be interesting, right? It will be interesting. Yeah. Avanati's not a huge puncher, like you said. So we'll see. I mean, it's been a while, and hopefully Kelly has gotten his head together and has been training hard. And this should be a good one. I think both of them will be in shape for this fight. It'll be
we know that Josh Kelly's going places, and it's pretty obvious. Even if he loses this fight, he'll come back. But you know, and his fight against Ray Robinson, since that fight, he has improved. That's valuable. You can't buy experience like that. You can't buy experience of his last fight. You know, right. So he's got the seasoning now. It's just, has he got enough seasoning? That's all it is. If he loses, and he loses on points, then we know that he's going to go somewhere. But if he gets knocked out in 1 or 2 rounds, then we know, you know, he just wasn't ready.
Yeah, we're not going to, it'll be interesting. We'll see how it plays out and what happens here. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know on this one. I think I would favor him to win if he's really taking this fight seriously and he's in shape, and he's not fooling around from the word go.
Okay, I'll bring up one more fight on this bill. No, actually, no, there's no big fights on that bill. Let me go to the next bill. the next bill is Adrian Broner against Santiago.
My favorite fighter, Adrian
Oh,
Broner.
At this point, I'm so over Adrian Broner. The guy is yesterday's news.
Well,
A career that promised so much but delivered so little.
well, I don't know if I totally agree with that. You know, we tend to look at boxers and martial artists as being more than human, and they're not. I mean, they are trained to be warriors,
Yeah.
and so they do things that we don't do. But Adrian, you know, is nicknamed the problem, but he's been more of a problem to himself.
He never wanted it. He as soon as he got his ass beat by Maidana, which we're talking 8 years ago now, 8 years, he didn't want anymore. He wasn't the same, and he went up through the weights too quickly, and then he just got found out. And when some people get found out, they never recover, and unfortunately, he never really recovered. But this Santiago guy, I mean, he's from Cuba, he's from Puerto Rico. I know. What do you know about Santiago? Because I've never seen the guy fight.
I watched a couple of his fights, and he definitely doesn't have the pedigree that Broner has, nor does he have as much boxing skill, and he's slower. It's really going to depend on which Adrian Broner shows up. Adrian should win this match, but Adrian's problem is more psychological than his boxing ability.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, he look, what was he, a 3-division champion? And he was a very small welterweight.
Four division. He was, don't get me wrong, he had talent, this man. But he's just, you know, how old is he now? He's 31 now, mate. You know, his career is not going to be, he's not going to be around much longer, you know. And I also look at him, you know, obviously when I first saw him fight, when he first won his world title 11 years ago, you know, I was impressed. But the same man is long left us, you know.
Now, you mentioned the Maidana fight, and I want to ask your opinion on this. I saw the fight, and at any point during that fight, I think a lesser boxer fighter would have quit.
Oh, well, I know they would have, yeah.
You know, he had the stones to stay in there and do the best he could and not get knocked out against the guy who's a wrecking machine. And actually fight back, you know.
But we're looking at a guy that Amir Khan beat, right? And I'm thinking back then, Adrian Broner had more talent than Amir Khan. You know, it makes me wonder. Styles make fights, don't they? As we know.
Well, they do. But I, you know, the main thing look, in his last 3 fights, he fought top fighters. Okay,
he
guys,
did,
and he didn't get his ass kicked.
No,
he got injured. He just boxed and kept his output low, and he survived. They were paydays for him. Now he really needs the money. He's being sued. So I think Al Haymon, Showtime, they're throwing him a bone here. But you know, I got to give Adrian his props as a boxer.
I do, yeah.
Boxer, you know.
But he's a shit person. I hate to say that about him. I know this is boxer, but he's a shit person, and he's proved that. And you know, I don't like to use that thing. I know this is a boxing show, but also this is this kind of fight he could easily slip up in. Adrian Broner is one of those guys that's going to end up with no money. He's also going to start losing to guys like this soon. Do you agree? By the age of 33, 34, 35, long Adrian Broner will be like the journeyman that everyone remembers 15, 20 years ago, you know? He's going to be that old guy that gets beaten up and gets, you know, ends up with nothing. I don't like to say that, but it's true. That's how I feel.
Well, let me address those points. First of all, he's 31. Right now, he should be peaking between 28 and 32. Fighters should be peaking. So he's not too old yet. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've watched interviews with him on TV, you know, long interviews where he was just being himself. And the guy has emotional issues.
Oh, yeah, he does.
It's true. But I don't think he's that much of a shit person. He's done stupid things. But sometimes also when you're a fighter and you're famous and you're making money, you can become a target for lawsuits. And through his own stupidity and his own lack of control and his alcoholism, he is an alcoholic, he's hurt himself.
this is the problem with this man. It's like Mike Tyson couldn't handle the pressure, and it's the same for him. But Broner hasn't made any really serious mistakes yet, nothing fatal or anything. I've always said I'm surprised it will be someone that kills him or he kills himself. I'm still waiting for the news headline, and it will happen in the next 10, 15 years, I swear,
Yeah. Now, don't forget, Adrian came from a very, very tough upbringing in Cincinnati, fighting in the streets when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He didn't have the kind of childhood you and I had. He's a different guy, but he's always been real about himself. He doesn't lie about himself. And
I do respect him. He was one of my favorite fighters at one time, but those days have long gone.
Well, let's see how he does.
Okay.
Let's see if Adrian shows up.
All right. Next on the card, we've got Robert Jermaine Easter against Ryan Martin, this should be a cracker, this one.
This should be. I mean, they're both good. And let me get there. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, I saw that, and I researched both guys. This is a close fight, in my opinion. What do you think?
I do, but I also believe. Ryan Martin's only loss was to Josh Taylor, so that tells you what kind of pedigree he's got. And I expect Robert Jermaine Easter to win this. He's a former world champion. I'm expecting him to win this.
I think he's a better boxer, Easter. Ryan is tough. He was tough against Josh, man. I mean, they just went for it. That last round was brutal. But he lost the decision, right? He didn't get KO'd.
Yeah.
He lost the decision. So he doesn't have quit. So he's that kind of a fighter that'll push you to the limit. The thing is can Robert Easter control him?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the thing.
This fight's super lightweight, so obviously this is his second fight moving up in weight.
Right. We'll see. It'll be good. It's a good card, actually.
There's one more fight I'm going to discuss. Let me just bring it up. Give me a second. One of the other fights on this one is Otto Wallin against Dominic Brazil. I think good fight, very good fight.
Yeah. Well, Dominic, big guy, didn't have much of I don't think he had an amateur background.
He had a little bit of an amateur one. I think he went to the Olympics or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, big guy. I mean, he did get bombed out, right, against Wilder, bombed him out. And Wallin was pretty tough, wasn't he, with Fury?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he cut him bad, if I remember.
And he's 5 years younger than I think Brazil's had one too many tough fights. If you go through the man's record, he had tough fights with obviously Wilder, Carlos Negron, Eric Molina, Ugana, Anthony Joshua, Amansor, Freddie Cass. He was dropped in the Cassie fight. The Mansour fight. He was dropped in the Cassie fight. He was dropped in the Uguna fight 4 years ago. He was dropped by Molina. He nearly got stopped by Negron. He's really. I don't think he's got a lot left to give. But then again, how good is Wallin? Because you can't tell from that loss, really, can you? I don't think it really means much until he gets in the ring and beats Brazil.
Yeah, it's a pretty even fight, I think, but Wallin has more experience. Experience in the sense that he has a longer runway of boxing.
Yeah.
So, but Dominic has a lot of heart, man.
He does, but what I'm saying, you looking at the records, Dominic has the better wins by far. The only good wins on Wallin's record is Adrian Granat. Remember him?
Yeah.
And Travis Kaufman. They're his only good wins. So that doesn't mean anything. And that loss to Tyson Fury, I think, made him look better than what he was.
I agree with that. This is one of those ones where it's hard to tell, I think, to pick a winner here. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And Dominic is the bigger man. Now, if you remember in the Wallin fight, I got very scared for Wallin at one point. And it made me believe that Fury was going to knock out Deontay Wilder, the way he came at Wallin after he was cut and throwing all of his weight behind his punches, I go, oh my God. He hurt Wallin a few times in that fight.
Yeah.
But he was so vicious. Well, you know, he was so vicious the way he went after him. But
Spencer's
Wallin
here
stood
now.
up to it. Fought dirty, but he stood up to him.
Spencer's here now.
What?
Spencer should be here now.
Well, let him in. Open the door. Let him in.
Spencer, are you here? I don't know what's happened to him. Right. Carry on speaking anyway.
Well, that was the thing. Wallin has got a lot of toughness because when he stood up to those huge shots that Fury was giving him, I don't think Brazil could bring that heat onto him.
Oh no, not at all.
But he can try to smother him, which is what Wallin is going to have to do. He's going to have to get inside because Brazil is big.
Brazil is a 18 stone man, like a 245-pound man, who can put his weight on you and drain you. I mean, do you remember when Joshua fought him? It took him ages for Joshua to break him down, didn't it? Took him 8 rounds to knock him out. And he kept coming, he kept getting smacked and he kept coming, you know.
Right. But I didn't think he knocked him out. I thought it went the distance with Wallin. Are you confusing him with the guy before?
Who? What do you mean?
There was a guy Fury fought before Wallin.
That was Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz was the guy who lasted 2 rounds who did absolutely nothing.
Right. Wallin didn't get knocked out.
No, but he got, I'm just saying, yeah, he ended up losing on points. One of them.
Okay, so I just got a message. He's trying to come on. So I don't know what the problem is. Maybe you should put the link in here for him, or I could do it.
Tell him to press it again. I'm doing it right. I'm not doing anything wrong. So tell him to click on it again.
Okay, I'm just going to post the link here for him.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll say try again. Okay.
Send the email to him. Yeah. So
anyway, as terms of that particular fight, I think that'll be an entertaining fight. Again, these guys better show up in shape.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Let me go to the next fight, the next card, which is We've got Miguel Burchell against Oscar Valdez. This is a cracker. This one. Spencer joining now.
Yeah.
Hello, Spencer. He's connected.
Is he in?
Yeah, he's in. He's just waiting for his audio to connect.
Here he comes.
Can you hear him?
Come on, Spencer. Come on in.
He's still connecting to his audio.
I see him. Come on, Spencer. Are you in?
Spencer.
Spencer.
Hello, mate. Oh, his microphone's off. He's muted.
Turn your microphone on.
Oh dear. Let me.
Hello,
hello,
Yay!
mate.
Yeah. There I go. All right.
You made it.
Welcome to the show. Right, we were discussing Otto Wallin against. No, not Oscar. What do you think about Otto Wallin against? What's his big name?
Dominic Brazil.
Dominic Brazil. Jeez.
Who did Wallin fight last time?
Wallin fought Tyson Fury last time, didn't he?
Nah, he fought somebody after Tyson.
Yeah, he did. He won.
But who was it? Because he looked good in that fight, but I want to.
It was against Travis Kaufman. Travis Kaufman.
Kaufman, right? That's right.
I forgot all about it.
Baby. Yeah. So, yeah, he looked good against Kaufman, but that's not really saying too much.
No, not really.
Brazil, I don't rate him too high, but he's been known to make me lose, make me shut up quite a few times against Mansoor, against Aganu. Like I thought both of those guys was going to beat him, and he won. So I don't want to count out Dominic Brazil, but I think Wallin should win this. I think he should win this. He tries to be a little bit more mobile, and I don't know if Dominic Brazil could deal with somebody that mobile.
I agree. Dominic is pretty one-dimensional. He's big. He's got long arms. He has some power.
He's slow.
Wallin is really tough. He stood up to Tyson Fury well, and hung in for the whole, the whole 12 rounds. And Tyson was putting some real heat on him. We'll see. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if it'll end in a knockout for either man, but I think Wallin would have the edge.
I'd say Wallin on points, or let's stop it, Chief.
Yeah. Especially if it goes inside.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys about
Dominic?
Did anybody watch the WBA regular title fight? What's his name? Trevor Bryan against the old spent Stiverne. Did anybody watch that crap?
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Did I see that fight? Yeah.
What did you think of that nonsense?
I think they need to I don't even know, man. I mean, Don King definitely served Stiverne well because he got him 2 title shots that he shouldn't have even. I mean, I guess that's a title shot. He got him 2 title shots that he shouldn't have got, and he got him a fight versus Joe Joyce for the gold would be 4. So,
Trevor Bryan.
It was ridiculous, but it was I don't even know how they would allow Stiverne to be like it was originally supposed to be between Bryan and Chaw, but once Chaw dropped out, since he was the regular or whatever, the world champion, he should have. Bryan should have been forced to fight someone that was like Stiverne wasn't ranked number 1 or 2.
He was just put in place in the rankings support. Anyway, we'll move on because no one cares about that title. Right, Oscar Valdez against Miguel Burchell, which was a great fight.
Oh yeah,
for the WBC super featherweight belt. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pick Burchell on this one, but yeah, this one should be a war.
I agree. Burchell to me I've been watching them train. They have those specials where they're training and talking to the fighters, and I've been following Burchell. He is just tough, man. He's got so much dog in him, and he's tough. And I think Valdez, he's had a couple of really wars, where he was really hurt, jaws broken, head snapping back, knockdowns. I think he's getting into the meat grinder here.
Is this his first fight at 130?
I think so. So. Let me
Oscar Valdez, because he's just moved up from featherweight. He was the WBO featherweight, wasn't he? So I think this is second or his third fight at that weight.
It's a super featherweight, yeah.
Let me just
so he didn't have a fight at 130 before this?
I believe he did. Yeah, he did. Let me have a look.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He did. He did have one. Yeah, he had one at was it Lopez he fought?
Lopez and
Velez, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm going with what you're saying here too, Spencer. I think Burchell he's not going to let go of that title. Not yet.
We're nearly at the end of talking about this week's fight. I'm just going to give 2 honourable mentions, and then we'll talk about some of last week's cards. The Josh Warrington. An honourable mention: Sakio Bika will be coming back after 4 years against some guy called Adam Stowe. And that'll be the local bowling club, but no one cares. Right, okay. In other action, we've got...
What weight is that? What weight is Bika coming back at?
He's coming back at... Let me have a look.
So 185 or 175?
I'm just looking. It's super middle. He's gone back to 168.
Oh,
Ah, okay.
And the other honourable mention was Fedor Chudinov, who will be fighting the elusive Isaac Chilemba. Remember him, guys?
Yeah. I do.
so that's at light heavyweight, I suppose.
Let me double check that very quickly. I've got his record up. So
Well, I've watched Chudinov fight, and of course, I know Chilemba.
Yo, them light heavyweights, they need fights, man. Them
super
guys ain't
middleweight,
fighting,
mate.
man.
Isaac Chilemba's gone down to 168 for this.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Them guys up in light heavyweight, they need to fight, man. Ain't none of them guys like Joe Smith fight got canceled last week because did homeboy have COVID or it was
COVID.
visa issue? It
COVID.
was COVID, okay.
Yeah.
So but Turbiev, like he finally gonna get the guy in the ring. Biffle just got announced to fight, so they are all about to fight. So hopefully, hopefully Joe Smith and that guy book fight. I forgot his name.
Glazov, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Kovalev got popped for PEDs.
Hilarious.
Kovalev. BoxRec still got him ranked like top 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
And he just didn't he fight he got popped for the fight that he just had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight never took place. It was in Russia. But
okay. Oh, so it didn't take place. He got popped beforehand. All right.
But guys, let's go to the Josh Warrington fight. I feel so sorry for this boy. He gives up his world title, then he fights an unknown Mexican who's 22 years old who has fought nobody, and yet he loses. He gets knocked down in the 4th round, then he gets knocked out in the 9th. I tell you what, that was a tremendous performance by Lara. What do you guys make of it?
Well, one of the things about Mexican fighters, you never know with some of these Mexican fighters. They come in there and they turn out to be heavy-handed. The guy looked bigger than him, too.
I actually read something on a podcast, BBC podcast. They said that he hadn't made the featherweight limit in 4 years. And they said he's been fighting people as heavy as welterweights.
Wow.
Okay, he been fighting a super featherweight the last 4 fights or whatever.
And lightweight as well. He's been fighting lightweights and light welterweight.
So he was definitely heavier. But listen, listen, I'm gonna just say this. To me, Laura looked slow. He looked really Warrington looked worse than Laura did. Laura didn't look great to me. He just beat Warrington, in my opinion.
He just beat him up.
Like they were expecting a different fight, and it didn't happen as a lot of people expected. So they, a lot of people are like attaching Laura having some stupendous performance. To me, he fought a regular fight that he's always fought. It's just that Warrington, that style didn't really
with him,
mesh with the way Warrington fights.
Right.
And him fighting heavier, he probably has a little bit of a pop,
you know what I've often spoken.
But he's just fighting guys, even fighting no names, like him having a pop against like the 200th ranked guy in the division ain't really saying too much.
But at the same time, how the hell was Josh Warrington ranked as the #1 featherweight? We knew Shakur Stevenson was better than him. Wallin Stevenson, we all knew that.
Well, Shakur had moved up, so he wasn't no longer featherweight.
But in Britain, right, you can agree with me, we have a history in our country of building people up who are never really that good. I mean,
well, listen, the ring ain't Britain. The ring it's not a British publication, and the ring is the one that had him #1. If he would have fought, see, to me, the excuse of not wanting to fight Kid Galahad really kind of bites him in the butt right now, because you could have kept your belt he supposedly got a rematch and he's gonna fight him again or whatever the case is. But it's like how they even allow a rematch for that fight?
Well, you can't. I mean, for me, I'm not making excuses. You can agree with me or not, guys. I think Warrington should have moved up the day he won that title because he's been too big for featherweight, hasn't he? For a long time, he's a big featherweight. He's too big. And if you fight at the weight too long, you get weight drain, don't you? And it gets tougher. I think the inactivity and the fact that he's killing himself to make the weight, I played into it as well. And also the fact they said he was carrying an injury. But then again, these are all excuses.
I mean, the other guy has been more active, but he hasn't been fighting tough competition. So, that he has been active, but he's been at a heavier weight. So that guy also had to come down to a weight he hasn't been at for years.
But
so,
if your weight drain, say if you haven't fought for 16 months, fight a guy who's ranked 8th or 900 in the world so you know you're actually going to win. Don't fight a dangerous Mexican.
Well,
that's the worst thing.
Listen, when they planned it, they thought they was picking the guy ranked 800 or 900. It ain't come out like that.
Yeah.
He was listen, Josh Warrington was saying he was gonna fight Can You in April and all of this other stuff. So he gave up his title because he didn't want to fight Kid again, which
still made no sense to me. But at the same time, you could say that British style fighters never match up well with Mexicans. They should have chosen some guy who's a European level guy from Europe. Don't choose them. If you're a British fighter, don't choose fucking Mexicans.
He should have fought Kid for the belt again. He could have beat him.
Yeah. But Carl Frampton had lost to Lara. No, he wouldn't have done, would he?
My opinion on all of this is that if you're a champion or you want to be a champion, you better be prepared to fight anybody. And enough with these bullshit excuses and matchmaking technologies. He lost. That's all. He was
exactly. Y'all listen. The excuses that people gave. I'm like, oh, he shouldn't have been out of the ring, and he should have. I'm like, he picked a tune-up. That was a tune-up because of his inactivity. So he picked the guy that was supposed to wait and get him to fight for Can You, to keep him staying busy for Can You.
So that was poor matchmaking. It was poor matchmaking. They should have done their matchmaking a bit better. I know I'm not making excuses, but his career is in tatters. How do you come back from a loss like that? You can, but how that big money's not going to come his way anymore.
And this is the thing that I don't really like about rematches, especially immediate rematches. Suppose Laura and Warrington fight again and Josh win. It's now 1-1. They tied now. They would need a trilogy to settle the score for real.
Do you think he would win the rematch? Because I don't think he wins the rematch. Seriously. I don't know if he had enough or not, but he just lost. He got his ass handed to him. You can't say anything more than that, can you?
I mean, listen. This is a possibility if they decide to have a rematch and they do it at 130 instead of having it at 126. Josh might have, he might be a little bit more, he might fight differently. So it might possibly be something of that effect. But, again, still, even if Josh was to win, that's still 1-1.
But
Josh would have to knock him out. Josh would have to knock him out like in the first 30 seconds to actually redeem himself.
Josh Warrington's never had good defense. We talked about this 3 years ago. We always said the guy never had any defense. And it was only a matter of time before he got caught out. I knew if he was going to lose, it was going to be someone like this. It always happens.
Well, did you bet money on it?
No, I didn't.
I wish
I
did.
don't believe in him that much.
I wish I did.
Hey, I have a proposition for you guys. You know that Mayweather's fight with Paul was called off?
Why?
And then I'm reading that Manny Pacquiao's in training and he'll have a big announcement soon. Do you think there's any connection?
Probably not. No,
listen, they I don't know, they might fight. I've always said that there's a possibility that they might rematch because Mayweather, as long as Pacquiao's fighting and still winning against like some notable names, he's still relevant. So Floyd coming back and not being defeated, and people want to see Manny Pacquiao beat him and all of this other stuff, it's still going to sell well. It'll still be 100 million. I mean, 1 million buys. So
it's possible. I think it's possible. It kind of makes me a little suspicious. You know, I know Manny wants it really bad. Floyd is like, you know, they keep saying, no way, we're done. We're only going to do exhibitions. You know, these stupid fights with the guys that are lighter and no experience and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Easy money. But hey, you know, it's tax time again.
Let's talk about. Sorry, carry on.
I'm about to say, I don't mind Mayweather doing it because I ain't got to buy it.
Exactly.
Like, I ain't buying it. Like, yeah, I mean, I know people will, but I'm not buying no Mayweather versus Paul fight. Come on now.
No way.
We'd never buy that
in England, it'll be about £20, so I'll pay it. It's not like where we pay $70 in your country. We've got a bit more common sense in England.
Yeah, well, I'll come over there and watch it.
Yeah, but listen, y'all doing pay-per-views like every other week now. So
what with fighters who are not pay-per-view worthy? What was I going to say? Did you watch the Zelfa Barrett fight against Kiko Martinez?
Is that the UK card that had
yes. The Josh Warrington undercard it was?
Yeah.
The scorecards were disgusting. It makes pretty
Yeah. Kiko should have won that fight.
Oh, I heard about
it. He won the fight, but he won it by 1 or 2 rounds. I gave it to him just by 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah, I heard about that. Wasn't Eddie complaining about it?
He was, yeah. So he makes British boxing look bad.
Yo, listen, speaking of Eddie, I predict somebody who's fighting on Eddie's card. Who is Eddie having a fight tomorrow?
Let me have a look again. Give me.
Avanatti versus Kelly.
Again,
Avanatti versus
Kelly, right? Yeah, Kelly about to get beat up.
You really believe that? What?
Because Eddie said that Kelly gonna win by knockout.
No. I think
whenever Eddie seems to be so confident in the fighter doing something, that fighter tends to let him down.
Yep. Yeah. Didn't he do that with what's his name against the heavyweight? What's his name against the?
He did it with Warrington. He did it with AJ and Ruiz.
Yeah, and then he said it with what's his name?
With White and Povetkin.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, so Eddie needs to. I mean, I haven't really seen anything in Josh Kelly that's really that impressive with me. And David Avanatti, I mean, not that I'm that impressed with him either. He got a lot of grit, and he won some fights that I didn't think he should have been like going into the fight that he was going to win. Like, what's that guy, La Raja? Yeah, when he beat him twice, like, you know, that really like kind of made me look at Avanatti a little bit different. He beat up what's it called too? Didn't he beat Shane Mosley?
Yeah. But that was an old Shane Mosley. That was a really old Shane.
He's got brain damage.
Yeah. His son fought on the card.
Yeah, I know. I watched that.
His son is terrible. His son is surely.
I call him Splenda instead of Sugar.
Yeah,
sugar substitute.
Right. You know, but I do like Tim Tszyu, Costa Tszyu.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be fighting Hogan.
Yeah, he's got a fight coming up. I think they just signed it, didn't they?
Yeah, Dennis Hogan. Hogan is the guy that should have beat Munguia.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be a tough fight, but I think he's got everything. He's got poise, power, boxing skills, speed. He's going to be a champ.
Yeah, this one is going to be a good one. They got a little rivalry going on too.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they both from down under. So,
right. What do you think of my favorite fighter, Broner, coming up with Santiago?
I mean, listen, Broner could still get fights in and around 140, 147. If he could ever make 140, he could he could he could get some fights down there. You know, he could always fight the Taylor. Like he's a free agent that if they pay him enough, he could go somewhere. You know?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the psychological frame of mind. He's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, without question. I mean, he's definitely talented, but whether or not he puts that talent to work is another thing. Like he seems to just like go through the motions now. The fact that he came down and lost 35 pounds for a fight, decided to do that, I mean, it's against the nobodies, but just the commitment to keep coming down to 140. Well, he was trying 140, but
breaking
he
news.
didn't make it.
Callum Johnson has resigned with Frank Warren and left Eddie Hearn.
Really?
Yeah.
So that means he gets to fight Anthony Yard.
Yeah.
He might fight the Joe Smith homeboy winner.
Yeah.
He could fight him because he's Barbarum. Joe Smith with Barbarum, I think. So that'll be, they kind of affiliate. Are they still affiliated? Because like a lot of Warren cards.
Yeah, Joe
be aired on
Smith.
ESPN.
Yes, he is. He is with Aram.
No, I'm talking about Aram and Warren, because some of the Warren cards don't be aired on ESPN anymore. Like they used to have like all of Frank Warren cards on ESPN or ESPN Plus. They don't have it like that.
I think there's still something, but you know what? You're not missing much because those British cards that Frank Warren puts on are terrible. We all know they're terrible cards.
Yeah, some of them are, but not all of them. Like I like this Robert Easter match with Ryan Martin. I like that.
Yeah, I want to see that one because Ryan Martin, he was undefeated going into the World Boxing Super Series, and he only lost to Taylor. So I mean, he got beat the hell up by Taylor, but
yeah,
but he looked
a good match.
Yeah. I want to see that, and I want to see Robert Easter get. Like I'm not too impressed with Robert Easter, but I do know that he has some. Like he has some attributes that kind of cause issues for people. He a tall fighter. He very rarely fights tall though, but he a tall fighter.
What do you think of this fight coming up with Parker and Junior Fa?
Oh God!
Listen. I don't even know what's going on with Parker because I thought he was going to fight Fa, and then I heard him saying that he was going to fight Chisora.
Yeah, well, Fa got ill, and they had to cancel the fight. So they were talking about it. They didn't know when Fa
it's rescheduled for next week, next Saturday.
Yeah, it's next Saturday. So
let me see what the card is on it. So this is a weak ass card. This is in New Zealand.
Yeah, but that's the only fight I'm interested in. You also got Frampton and Herring next week, and you also have Canelo versus Yildirim.
Yeah, I mean, the Yildirim fight, we know what's going to happen.
And then you got Steve Ward and Konkabayev and Durrell versus Davis, all next week. Those are 5 fights.
No, Cole Frampton and Jamal Herring's world title fight has been postponed.
Which Durrell?
Anthony.
Because that one is in Flint, right? That card is in Flint, right?
It's in Los Angeles. Anthony Durrell versus Caron Davis.
Oh, no. Clarissa's fighting in Flint, right? Clarissa's fighting in Flint.
Yeah, but she's not fighting next week.
No.
Yes,
I got it confused. I got it confused on who was fighting in Flint. I was getting it confused because I know Durrell is from Flint. Right. But he's fighting in Vegas.
You're correct.
So this junior fight,
the week after that is Povenkin and White again.
So guys, this fight.
That's the 27th, right?
Yeah. So this.
No, Povenkin
is the 6th of March.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
So junior fight, obviously, I've watched him the last 3 fights he had, and he's nothing good about it. He's probably British level, to be honest.
Commonwealth level, yeah.
Yeah, he's not even that good. Not even that
well, good. Here's the thing. If White knocks him out,
No, you
It's
mean
good.
you mean.
I'm sorry. If Parker knocks him out, I got White on the brain here. If Parker knocks him out, then it's good. But if he doesn't, it doesn't raise Parker's stake. I mean, Fa's a big guy. He's bigger than Parker.
He's 6'7".
But if Parker doesn't do something dramatic, he's not going to get in the mix for the title.
No, we've got 10 minutes left, but he will win. He's beat him on points. It's in New Zealand.
Yeah, Parker can do it if he put his foot on the pedal. He could knock more people out.
But
it seems like sometimes he's like, all right, I'm winning. I'm gonna just coast to the victory, or it's like in certain fights, it's like I'm not going to do too much because what I'm doing is just enough to win.
Yeah. See, it's a mindset, Yeah, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm going to box him and I'm going to win and I'm going to get the victory. But you see, like Joe Louis, as good of a boxer as he was, he had that meanness, that toughness, like Lennox Lewis had. That thing that certain like Rocky Marciano and Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, all these great fighters, they had this meanness when they could when they abandon boxing and they go right into fighting.
Right, they want to start trying to hurt you.
Yeah, they want to hurt, and Hagler was that too.
Right, let's talk about this Povetkin card. There's a couple of people on it. Ricky Hatton's son will be making his debut, Campbell Hatton, at super featherweight.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he's 20.
All right, I'm going to see.
So that'll be good.
See him.
And then we've got
what weight you just said?
Super featherweight.
Okay.
And he looks just like him. And we've got another fight, Fabio Wardley. You guys know who Fabio Wardley is, don't you? An English heavyweight. I think Fabio Wardley is fighting Eric Molina. So this is a big step up for him.
Eric Molina?
Yeah, Eric Molina. Yeah.
That's in the UK?
Yeah. That is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The Povetkin undercard. So that's
they must have lifted his ban. Eric Molina was banned for dates. I thought it was
2 years.
7 years or some crazy nonsense.
But this fight, I mean, Eric Molina, they must think he's got nothing left if they're putting him in there. I mean, Wardley looked impressive. He knocked out Richard Latte in 1 round, and it took Daniel Dubois 5 rounds to knock Latte. So for me, we'll find out how good he is. Could you imagine if he knocks out Molina in 2 rounds? It's going to look good, isn't it? I know Molina isn't anything special.
No, well, he better not lose.
If he loses,
bye-bye.
But if Wardley loses to Molina, it's not a disaster.
Well, I don't think he's going to lose. Talking of big fighters, what do you think of Jared, the real Big Baby Anderson?
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good. I mean, he's gonna be stepping it up, and they got their eye on him now, so they might start matching him up with the Kaufmans and those guys. With the what's this other dude's name, man? Them American journeymen, them gatekeepers. I guess journeymans. What is this guy?
Molina hasn't fought for 2 years, and his last fight was against, who was it again? I remember who it was against, but he lost. It was against Filip Hrgovic. Yeah, he lost in 3 rounds to Filip Hrgovic.
Like they should fight. They should put Jared Anderson against somebody like one of the Polish guys, like Warrington or whatever his name is.
I know who you mean.
But they kind of tough.
Kamil Solowski.
One of those guys, because they kind of tough, but he should be able to beat them.
Yeah, looking at the heavyweights that are around right now, there are a lot of tough guys out there right now. And some real up-and-comers.
I'll tell you what, I think Dillon White wins the rematch. I know I shouldn't say that, but I believe he can. And he shouldn't have lost the first fight, and he knows it. It's like where you make a mistake, like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, but next time I'll get it right.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
he had him beat. He knocked him down twice. If that other round had gone a minute longer, he would have knocked him out. He just got caught cold. He was just unlucky. And I mean, nobody would get it from that punch anyway.
You think it was luck? I don't think.
I don't think it was luck, but I'm saying he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he got knocked out. Nobody would have.
See,
no, he was in the right place at the right time. He was in the ring with a guy who had a lot of power, who was a former champion, and he made a mistake, and he got set up for that other.
I was going to say, he kept doing the same thing, and Povetkin was like, all right, watch. Do that again. And he's like, I'm...
Dillon White, to his credit, he's always been easy. His defense is awful. His footwork is terrible. He's got.
Listen, I don't know what people see in Dillon White as him being this person that people are afraid of, but Dillon White to me is average. He's not great with the hands. He's not like, he's not a guy like, say, Tyson Fury or Usyk, somebody that could. He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a puncher.
Yeah.
But he's the guy who's improved, who's done well to get where he even got. And
now,
also,
I will give him. I will say this. I will give him credit. His on-the-job training is. He's doing well on his on-the-job training. Yeah. But he's going through a lot of tough fights, and I know they say, steel sharpens steel or whatever. He's going through a lot of tough fights, in my opinion, with guys that he shouldn't really be going through tough fights with anymore. Like, he shouldn't really be going through no tough fights with Derek Chisora, not at Chisora's point of his career and his point of, like, he was on the rise. Chisora should have been past his time, way past his time.
But the fact that he's taken so many beatings in his career, yet Chisora is still fitter than Dillon White, and he's 8 years older. What does that say? It just
exactly. This is what I'm saying. Like he got lucky that Parker has the mental state that me and Tom was just talking about, that he don't put his foot on the gas, because Parker almost beat him, and he was fighting timid as hell.
But what you've got to say is that he's had the help of judges, and he's had perfect matchmaking. A Lucas Brown, who was never that good in the first place. That win,
Lucas Brown, listen, he caught, and I'm gonna say this: Lucas Brown was, I think, sloppy in that fight. When Lucas Brown lost to Dave Allen, right? Lucas Brown was a little bit more fit. So if Dillon White didn't beat that Lucas Brown, he beat some fat, sloppy, just looked like he just.
To be honest, Lucas Brown was
it looked like he was just at the Nathan's 4th of July day.
He fought a Lucas Brown who didn't have his PEDs for that.
42. Yeah, he beat a 42-year-old man who wasn't what he was, But
I mean, but to give him credit, he did beat Rivas.
Yeah.
He did beat Rivas.
But he is a top 10 fighter by default, isn't he? I mean, he's earned that top 10 status, but I'm saying
and listen, I'm having this discussion with a dude when they want to have who's better, who fought the better competition, White, Ruiz, or who got better wins, White, Ruiz, and Wilder. I'm like, first of all these dudes is about the same, except the top guy. If you didn't beat Fury or AJ, then you done beat about the same level of guy.
To be fair,
so
Dillon White has had the machine called Matchroom behind him. That's why he's been successful, because the matchmaking for him has been made at the right place at the right time. And apart from that, didn't lose to Joshua, would have beaten him.
He'd been matched with some fights that he could have lost. Like, he could have lost that Parker fight. The Rivas fight, Rivas was coming off a nice win, so he could have lost that one. That wasn't a guarantee. He obviously lost the Povetkin fight.
We've got 1 minute left. We better say goodbye.
All right.
Oh man, I'm having a good time. Come on.
I'm gonna do another recording anyway. So we'll set up another recording and we'll talk about something else. Right, we're going to say goodbye for part 1. We'll be back for part 2.
All right, let me try to look up some things while we're on some news stories, not about the fight cards.
Okay. We're going to end this recording and then we'll add the next one.
All right.